Well, hello guys, welcome back. Happy Friday, happy Freya's Day, happy, Friday, yeah. Yes, I have glitter on me. No, it won't go anywhere. I will take baths for about 2 weeks and it won't move. It's now part of me forever and ever and ever. I was working on a project. But today was a day of like such highs and such lows that I thought I was having like some kind of mental breakdown. And it was Loki paving the way for something. I got out and it felt good enough that I decided, even though I am trying to watch my budget, I would go walk up and I would go look for an ice cleat I lost yesterday. And long story short, I knew I had lost it because I walked fine the whole way up. And I'd walked up this ramp to go to my friend's place, but to do that unwelcome task. But to come back, as soon as I stepped out of her place, I noticed I didn't have the one cleat on. And I'm like, that's impossible. Where did it go? Like, I lost it between that ramp and her doorway. So we went back in and we looked for it, and it wasn't in there. And I came out and I'm looking on the sidewalk. Long story short, walked the same exact route home, didn't find it. Walked the same exact route going up today, didn't find it. Even went over to see the other friend, the one that runs a business. And this was one of those things that was both a high and low, because the first friend had given me fettuccine alfredo. Woohoo! Yeah. And I go to visit the next friend, and she's like, she's going to make, I said, smells like chicken. She goes, well, could be chicken. And I'm like, okay, what kind of adventure are we going on? And she's making, frying me up this, french fries, and frying me up, not barbecue chicken, like, hot wings. And everything's going fine until we start talking about YouTube. And good thing I didn't talk about a certain YouTuber that just unfortunately returned, because she thinks this person is Jesus and walks on water. And I'm like, okay. And she thought that what he did was wonderful. He should be applauded for it. I'm like, do you really hate the human race that much that that was perfectly acceptable to you? And I have a ability to put my emotions away and lock them down. So I locked the emotion down, the hurt down, and I was like, okay for the rest of the time being there. Because I'm like starting to get a feeling, the more I know this woman, she's not a very nice person. And I walked home and I had the chicken and it was delicious. And I'm struggling with how could you approve of something like that to, you know. And I told Loki, you know what, I just give up. If that's what people really want to see, if that's what people think is entertainment, I give up. I can't do that. I'm not some kind of inhuman monster. I can't, go film a dead corpse. I have standards. Lokeans have standards. Even though the rest of the world doesn't. I said I quit. I said straight up quit. I just can't do it. And he's just looking at me. And he says, what would you say to, and this is where we're going to lose subscribers, what would you say to Lilith if she were here? Because I was playing Exorcist 3 last night, and I kept apologizing to her because you have to fight her. Now, in the old days, she would have been a goddess, or some people use the word demon, but they mean demon in the Greek sense of wise one, teacher, instructor. They don't mean Satan. And I kept apologizing to her last night because she's a little sweetie bob. I love her to death. And he said, what would you say to her if she was here? And I said, really? And he says, really? I said, I give up, Lilith. I said, life sucks. I give up. I want all this earthly stuff, and it's not coming to me, and I'm mad, and I give up, and rah. And I couldn't even work with you or anyone else anyways, because there's no money left, and there's no room for altars, and I don't have any extra food to give to you, and rah. And I was just, raging. And Lilith answered in her own way. Lilith was like, it's okay. That was totally out of bounds, a video that was made. There's nothing wrong with you. You did not lose your scope. The world is losing its scope, and it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. And she says, but you're going to hang in there. And you're going to be tough enough because you're lost branch of your family is coming back, and she did not mean earthly family. So Lilith was here today, and Baal was here today, and Pazuzu was here today, because I had taught myself, instead of just accepting the teachings around me, I actually went and I studied, and I found out that Lilith loves babies. She used to, like, they used to have her charms and amulets and stuff, and you would put it to protect the baby or the pregnant woman or the unborn child, because if you interfered with them, she would rip your face off. And the other protector of children was Pazuzu. Again, he was ferocious and he could bring destruction because it was his holy charge to bring destruction, but he could also turn away that destruction. And, you know, he loved children and women. He was very fierce in how he protected them. And if you would have touched anyone under his care, he would have just absolutely ripped your face off for the sheer fun of it. We have to look at them from the religion they came from. And in the religion they came from, humans originally, there was a set of humans before us, they way overpopulated the earth. The gods said, enough of this, and they killed them all in a flood. Rebuilt humans, made us so that we would not live as long. But we were still breeding out of control, breeding like little rabbits, and they're like, oh, this sucks, we're not good at this god thing. And so the demons, the title of the gods that had to do the destructive aspects, they said, okay, you do plagues, and you do earthquakes, and you do drought, and you do, you know, infertility, and you do lack of sex drive, and you do taking away of children. Now, of course, when they would do these things, you know, they did not do them from a place of malicious evil. They did them from a place of this was their sacred duty, and they had to keep humans in checks and balances. And the gods weren't without mercy. Any demon had a counterpart that balanced them out, and any demon could be reasoned with, like a plague or storm god could be reasoned with, and you could say, please, I know this is your holy duty, but please spare me. And they generally would. You had to give the gods due respect. You had to live within the bounds humans were set at. And once you got out of those social bounds, the demons would come and they'd beat your rear end for you and say, I hope you learned your lesson because I will come back. And, you know, people have respect for them. Yeah. Could they be afraid of them? Yeah. But it was not in the Christian hysterical sense of, oh my God, a demon, throw holy water at it. It was, that's the bad demon that controls storms and, you know, foul weather, and that's the one in charge of doing, you know, taking away the young and everything else. But we also have to remember, too, we humans shape our religion and our views of the God and gods and goddesses on the world around us. If we grew up in a desert and life was harsh and we had no medical treatment like we have today, and infertility was a pretty common thing. It's actually really hard to carry a baby to term. Of course, we want to put the blame on someone. So you kind of have to walk that line between science and how environment can make you view the gods and your actual experience with the gods. Long and short of it, since they were always around me, it made things in a way worse for me growing up, because I grew up Catholic, and even though everyone told me they were supposedly worshiping a God of love, they gave me nothing but hate and abuse. And long and short of it, the ones they called demons were the ones that protected me and kept me safe and kept me from being killed and kept me, you know, from being raped and kept me from all this other stuff, and they protected me. And because people knew I had their protection, they were really out for me. But, you know, thank the gods, the old gods stayed with me and they protected me. And the game kind of brought all that up. And, you know, if Lilith is saying you were out of bounds, and Lilith is all about personal freedom, you really went out of bounds. You really need to sit down and think about your life, because Loki does want us to have absolute religious freedom. All the gods do, all the old gods do. But at the same time, absolute religious freedom does not mean you disrespect the dead. It does not mean you disrespect and poop on other people's religion. It does not mean you go looking for fights with a religious chip on your shoulder. You can stand up for yourself, by all means do. You could protect yourself from abuse. But you don't get to go around being, hell on wheels, is the expression used to go, to use your religion to beat other people up. These are not attack dogs. These gods are ferocious. They can be dangerous if you start working with them, Look included. And you don't show respect, they will make you show respect. But, it's very different from that Christian idea of God's remote and God never really answers, or if he answers, it's sunshine and puppies and all that crap. Sometimes if they answer, it's in a way that's in keeping with their nature. Lilith, for example, is associated with the night, with owls. I don't think she has mauves. I think they just saw La Santa had mauves and they threw those into the game because who cares about accuracy? And she was associated with babies. She was the one, like I said, she would protect mothers and babies and, little kids and everything. And they don't stop loving you because you're male or because you grew out of your babyhood or something. They will still rip anybody's face off if they come at you. But there's a different set of rules for babies, obviously, than there are for young people, than there are for adults. As you grow, you do have to take on more responsibility. So it is a freedom to do whatever you want. And Loki wants that for us, and to worship whoever we want and do it whatever way we want. But it's not to the extent of using it to hurt other people. For example, somebody asked, and I blocked them, if they could tell me what was wrong about me saying that Loki doesn't support white supremacy. One, I don't care what you do. If you want to be a bigot, be a bigot. But I was raised to be a way better Nazi than you will ever be, dearie. So you can't out-Nazi me. You guys know my father could have been in the Third Reich. He thought Hitler was coming back and blah, blah, blah. And thankfully, I did not take after him. I thank the gods every day I didn't take after him. I don't hate Jews. I don't hate anybody. I don't think our gods are the bomb and everybody else's gods suck. I just figure you do you and I'll do me and we'll all be happy. But, I don't care what your personal beliefs are. I'm not going to support them. And I'm going to tell you, in my experience, Loki was the one that, your father's full of it, right? Hitler was not a great person, that great people do not put other people in a concentration camp and kill them and torture them. That is nothing great people do. It has never been anything great people will do, and it never will be. And Loki is very like that. He's very blunt. Sometimes he will lie to you. He'll pretend to be interested in a bad thing you shouldn't be doing until he can get his hooks in, and then he'll show you the error of your ways. But, I found as I was struggling with it, because I never believed in my father's teaching, but good little Nazis got more food. Loki was always consistently disappointed. And he was like, you are so young, you don't even know what you're talking about. You're just too young and stupid. But I am very, it was the one time he would show disappointment. He was like, I'm very disappointed in you. This is not how we talk about people. You leave them and their God alone. You have nothing to do with them. And it turns out, we had an ancestor that was probably Jewish in our family. Oops. Yeah, deal with that one, Dad. So, yeah, all this time he was hating Jews, and it turned out that the one terrible family secret is that we might be Jewish because the one great so many backs grandfather came from a Jewish orphanage. I'm like, well, we are literally here because Jewish people took our family in, so, my father can go flip himself. So, yeah, I don't hate anyone. I don't care what your religion is or your lack of religion, but if you attack me, or you attack other people, then we're going to have a problem. If you don't show basic human decency, we're going to have a problem. You guys know I'm very opinionated. I'm very out there. But yeah. And now I'm starting to get a scratchy throat, so it's time to close, because I've done this like 8 times. But I hope you like what you see. If you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe. Sorry, my sinuses are bothering me because I was doing that project. That was not good for me. But I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.